first day I've got my windmill set up here. It is a 400 watt Coleman, and it's supposed to be a lot higher, but this is just my test. And that sucker can really get going. And the wind is hardly even blowing out here right now. It's only, I wouldn't imagine it's more than 9 miles an hour. And sometimes it regularly gets up to 16. But that thing is moving right along. And that construction and wiring right there is not what made America great. But it is just a test. It's not its final place. And it's a distant second as far as the engineering and construct goes, including duct tape and baling wire there. And that's some 6-gauge AWG. And since this is a test environment, what I have is two batteries that are pretty much toast. They came with my RV, and when I checked a little while ago, they were showing 11.51 volts. So I'll try to set that right there and see what the volts is DC coming off of. So it's showing, when I did it earlier when the wind wasn't blowing, it was showing 11.51 volts. And now when I hit these adapters here, it goes up to 1169, 1165, 1166, depending on how much the turbine's turning. And it's cutting off now. And I'm not a real good engineer on how to measure volts and amps yet. I'm doing a lot of studying on it. These are two batteries wired in parallel. So I'm hoping over time that it kicks back up again. And all that power is going right in there. And that's 400 watts. And I've been running 3 100 watt Renogy solar panels into 783 amp hour CarQuest 27 HM deep cycle marine batteries. And I checked my all 7 batteries, all cells yesterday, and they were all good, right around 12.6 volts on all of them. 12.60, and over 21 days those 300 watt solar panels have kept up my power. And I try not to use over 200 watts an hour or 200 watts at a time when I'm plugged in. My PC and monitor and maybe a box fan use about 180 watts, so I've tried to keep my usage way down. But those solar panels, that's 300 watts for 3 of them. And that right there is 400 watts in itself. I mean, the wind is just barely going right now, and that thing's cooking right along. That's 400 watts. And you got to get the wires right. And I know that everything I'm doing I can do more efficiently. All this has to be close. That windmill needs to be twice as high. And hopefully over time, I'm seeing if I can resuscitate these batteries. I know there's tricks that I have to do. The water's filled up, they're clean. I could have better connectors. And there's some tricks that I'm learning on how to resuscitate the batteries, but I hope to bring those batteries up to life because they're pretty much dead. But seeing it go from 11.51 volts to 11.69 when that's in use just for a couple minutes, it'll be interesting to see over the next couple days if that alone, by providing power all the time, can bring those back to life. Maybe sulfate them or something. But I had heard some things about these windmills being super noisy. And that little 400 watt Coleman windmill, from here, it's just a whisper. It is just barely a whisper, and that thing's cooking right along. So I think that's going to work out good. That's nowhere near intrusive, especially for being, heck, off the grid and being able to generate electricity. So, providing I tightened up everything correctly and got everything mounted, and I have a diversion load regulator that will allow me to use that DC electricity, because that's going to generate a lot more electricity than the battery banks that I have. So I got to think up some ingenious way to use all that electricity in a beneficial way. And common suggestions are heating water, but you can only heat so much water. What I may do is hook up a heating element, DC, like on a range top DC, and make myself a sauna out here and just have all the excess energy go into that sauna all the time, and crank that bad boy up to 160, 170 degrees all the time. Go in there and sweat, have a sweat lodge. That'll be a good use of the excess energy. But that's a successful test.